Elizabeth. Hey Chris, how are you?
Good, Pete. How are you?
Good. Hey Mike, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Hey Fred, how are you?
Hey Pete, I'm on.
Oh, awesome. Hey Fred, how are you?
Hey, just fine. How are you doing?
Good.
Great.
Danita, how are you?
I'm good.
Hey, Miss Danita.
Hello, Fred.
What's happening?
Oh, not a whole lot.
That's me. I'm sorry. I had to switch devices. Hey, what's up, Fred?
Oh, not too much, brother.
Hey Alan, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Hey, Alderman Osinga.
Yes.
What's happening, man?
How are you tonight?
Oh, pretty good.
This is new territory for me.
You're doing great, Alderman. Half the battle was just trying something different. You're doing great. We have everybody here for the committee. Thanks. Clara, are you there? I thought I saw you somewhere. Yeah, you are. Okay. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call. Okay, I have a question. Pete, can you hear me?
Yes.
Should there be people outside the committee on the call?
We only sent the credentials to those individuals on this committee.
Okay, so is this
Public comment.
It's viewable by the public can view this by the City of Kankakee website, Channel 4 Comcast?
Yes.
And, okay.
have a public comment.
Public comment was to be submitted by 3:30.
That's in violation of the state of Illinois, and I'd like to read that back to you.
Who is that talking?
That's Lance Marzak.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, Chris.
Mayor,
Yes.
the other number, 0916, that is me.
Okay, the governor has relaxed the Open Meetings Act and allows us to accept comments before the meeting. And I did not receive, did you get any comments to this meeting?
I didn't.
Okay, Jasmine's not on. Okay, I know you guys have been together all day. Okay. So just so you all know, our process is that public comments are submitted before the meeting, and then it's viewable. The meeting is viewable on the City of Kankakee website, YouTube, and Channel 4. Okay. Whose phone number ends in 0916?
That's mine, Mayor.
Okay.
Chris?
Who is 1744?
That's me, Mayor Maureen.
Okay. And then there's a 3600?
That's Clara.
Clara. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll call the meeting to order 6:02 p.m. or 6:04. We'll say 6:03 to make it, average it out here. Any public comments? We don't have any that were submitted. Pete has confirmed there were no comments submitted. Clara, if you would please go to a roll call.
Alderman Connell.
Present.
Alderman Prude.
Present.
Alderwoman Gall. Here. Alderman Osinga.
Present.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Here.
Alderman Curtis.
Present.
Alderman Tedder.
Present.
Clerk Dumas.
Did you get the clerk?
She's got her mic off.
Oh,
Here.
there you go. Thank you, Angelita. Okay, we have a quorum, and just for the record, since the meeting officially started, as I stated, this meeting is viewable by the public on the City of Kankakee website, the City of Kankakee YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 4. So the public has 3 ways to access the meeting. Login credentials are for council members only. That is all set up through our account, the city's, the municipal account. We had no public comments submitted. So moving on to the approval of the minutes, may I have a motion to approve?
So move, Mayor.
And just so if you guys can raise your hand, just so I know, I think there's Alderman Osinga, thank you. We have a motion to approve the minutes from March 16th by Alderman Osinga. By a show of hands, do I have a second? Alderman Tedder.
Second, Your Honor.
Seconded by Alderman Tedder. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is that feedback?
Sure.
Okay, minutes are approved. Moving on to the bills, may I have a motion to approve the bills?
It's Danita.
Alderwoman Swanson, I see you.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Alderwoman Swanson. Alderman Tedder.
Second, Your Honor.
Seconded by Alderman Tedder. Any discussion on the bills?
Mayor, I see there's 2 bills here, 2 dates, April 6th.
If you guys can raise your hands for me, that'd be
Sorry.
helpful. Okay, thank you, Alderman Osinga. Go ahead, you have the floor.
April 6th and April 20th, I believe. Are we going to do them all at once, or are we going to do 2 separate?
Alderwoman Swanson, what would you choose, ma'am?
I would like to make the motion to include all the bills, the 6th and the 20th.
Okay. And Alderman Tedder, are you okay with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I think we should read off the amount of the bills.
The bills for April 6th total $493,171.33, and the total for the April 20th bills total. Hang on, let me get there. $744,071.44, for a grand total of $1,237,242.77.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Alderman Osinga.
Yes, Mayor, I have one question.
Absolutely.
On 420, check 28739, it's for Sharp Cuts Lawn Care. It says Mar City Hall Police for $1,440. I know
So
City Hall, I believe police, City Hall, but not sure what the other one is. MAR/.
I think that's March. Elizabeth, that's correct.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please. Roll call, Clara.
Alderman Tall.
Aye.
Alderman Prue.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gall.
Aye, but I would like to abstain on check number 28736.
Thank you. Alderman Osinga.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Curtis.
Aye. I do need to abstain on check number 28639.
Thank you. Alderman Tedder.
Aye.
Clerk Dumas.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the reports. Pete, I will turn it over to you for item A, our monthly activity report.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. As you can see, we are graciously thanking everybody for the patience on Washington and McMullen. The bases have been poured. The conduits have been installed. They're going to be pulling wires this week. So hopefully that'll be buttoned up and we'll be able to replenish the surface in those areas. On that page one, there's a 27-inch sanitary line coming from Eastgate under the I-57 bridge. As we have heard, that I-57 bridge by Grinnell Road is going to be redone. So we had the team and others do some verification with the state of Illinois. Also, Dow Chemical, Elizabeth have been keeping kind of everybody in the loop with Dow Chemical. They encountered some significant rock Friday late afternoon. They asked some questions and we'll continue that process. Other than that, on page 2 and page 3, this committee had approved Doug Bright Architecture to kind of look at some assessments of a public works ESU facility. So those are there. Other than that, Zach, did you have some items that you'd like to share?
Sure. I'd just like to point out that we've kind of had our focus on storm drain cleaning with the spring now here and the tree buds dropping. It's really clogging up a lot of our storm lines, so we're working to get those clean, keep those clean. We're still working with the school district. We need to camera a little bit more line for that field drainage issue in between Taft and Kennedy. And a few weeks ago, there was some resident complaints for odor issues from the industry that's south of town. Alan took the lead on that, got a hold of them, and they responded that they had a couple of unique processes that they were doing and that they believe that was responsible for those odor issues. And so hopefully that won't be occurring again. We have been meeting with them regularly, and we'll stay on top of that.
Sounds good. Clara, did you have anything that you'd like to add on some of the projects you're working on?
No, thank you.
Alan, how about you?
Sure, there's a few lab items I can mention. Again, I have a thorough summary in the packet. Lab is running on a routine basis. We have had our new pass-through sample refrigerator has been installed, so that's now up and running. I did perform the final walkthrough at Special Waste Disposal and also was present for Illinois EPA's walkthrough in March. I have issued their city wastewater discharge permit. It outlines all the parameters that will be restricted by there. As they finalize their on-site lab equipment and their treatment chemicals, they should be accepting Halden waste starting this week and then more regularly moving into May. I've also finished making all the final revisions and issued all the 11 industrial permits. They're set to renew on May 1st. The set of permits has our major industrial contributors, including BASF, CSL, and Rojas Dow. And again, in the one that has the odor complaints, I haven't made the odor issue part of their permit, so that will be actually enforceable going forward for them. And that's about all I have.
Sounds good. Dennis, did you have some other items that you'd like to share?
It's in the report. The only thing I'd like to add is that we are back up to our full staff. Got a fuel bid under new business.
Sounds good. I think that's it, Mayor.
Okay, I have a couple hands. I see Alderwoman Swanson.
Just on Dennis, I did see that they were picking up a little brush, and I see that they expect to resume it sometime in May. I just know I've seen a lot of rubbish bags out with the weather being nicer. A lot of people are out cleaning their yard. I don't know if there's a possibility of maybe picking that up sooner than later.
We went through last week and picked up all the leaf bags in the city. It pretty much takes the entire crew to do that. So we would have to stop doing some of these other things. So, but that's, if that's the direction, then that's what we'll do.
I just saw a lot right on Kennedy Drive. I know my ex-brother-in-law lives right there on the curve and there I saw some more bags that were right there, right off the river walk, so that's the only ones that I really have noticed have been piling up.
Okay.
I drove through the city yesterday and I did notice those as well on Kennedy Drive, Alderwoman Swanson. Alderman Curtis, you had your hand up, and then I'll get to you, Alderman Osinga, just a moment. Alderman Curtis, you had the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick one. I saw that Republic resumed in Bourbonnais as of today for grass pickup. Are they planning on doing that with us, or is it just Bourbonnais? Do we know any insight there?
Pete has his hand up.
I've got some feedback on that. Bradley and Bourbonnais started 2 weeks prior to us with their shutdown of their operation. So we talked to Ernie. Sounds like next week or the week after is when they are going to go ahead and resume due to that shift in efforts. So they're getting themselves back to normal in Bradley Bourbonnais because Bradley Bourbonnais started 2 weeks before us, and then will be the next step. Ernie was hoping next week or the week after.
Thanks, Pete. Alderman Osinga, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Pete, I drive down Kennedy Drive quite a bit, and the substation there on Kennedy Drive, I'm starting to periodically get a bad smell. It's coming out of that building again. I know we put some filters in there a while back, and to help that problem. Is there anything else we can do, or something need to be changed there?
Yeah, so we have the odor control system. Zach, I'll let you address that in a minute. But, with BASF and then also the leach aid from Newton County, Mayor, that's something that we're kind of working together with them. But we have identified that some of those systems are causing and contributing more to the odor at that station than others. Zach, did you want to share anything with that?
You pretty much said it.
Yeah, so like I said, the odor control system typically is fired up around this time of the year. There is brand new carbon that we put in, what was that, Zach, last year before?
Right.
So the guys are doing everything that we possibly can to mitigate that odor situation. It's just a matter of keeping that business south of town under control, and then also the leachate from Newton County.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Alderman Osinga. I don't see any other questions. Pete, I had a question in terms of the designs that Doug Bright provided. Does this include storage for a fire? Because we're paying rent for storage for fire trucks over here at Station 1. Would this accommodate that so that we wouldn't have to pay for the storage?
Yeah, so that particular design does not include, there's plenty of outside storage, but not inside storage.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to financials.
With the financial report, the 5110, we're at the 67.2% mark. Obviously, at the 11 months, we're at 91.67 is where we should be. So that's doing really well. Sewer services is on track. Actually, quite a bit under budget. We're at 82.4%. The wastewater treatment is at 90.6%. Technical services group is doing well at 77.8%. Laboratory services is at 70.7%. The debt service, thanks to all of Elizabeth's efforts, we're at 91.7%, which where we're supposed to be. Department of Public Works is at 83.3%. Overall, at this moment, we should be right around 91.67%. Total utility expenses at 82.4%. Revenues are at 89.4%. So our revenues exceed our utility expenses, and we're in good standing at this moment. Elizabeth, did you have anything you wanted to share?
The only thing I wanted to make sure that we shared was that we did receive that check for from Aroma Park, as many of you know, that did get receipted in the month of March. So just wanted to make note of that. We received the IRS bond money for those Rebuild America bonds or Build America bonds back in 2010, I believe, or 9. We received that money just recently. That'll be in April. That's 37-ish. I'd have to look it up, but it's right around that mark. We received that 37,000. And then also just wanted to make note that this is April, so I have to make sure that all of the accounts connected with the revenue bonds are properly, the covenants are being properly followed, and that'll be done here in the next week.
Thank you. Alderman Curtis, you had a question? Alderman Curtis?
Yes, thank you. On the expenses, you said we're about just a hair under 83%. Do we expect any large accruals that would bring that up, or is that just a trend that we're targeting about 8% under?
Yeah, I think we're going to be under. We have a couple items that are we're finalizing as we speak to finish out this year, but I still believe that we'll be right on track.
Thank you.
Alderman Tall.
Yes, under sewer services, I'm looking at 401. Supervisory services is at 91%. And it looks like we budgeted 80,000, and then clerical 402. We budgeted 48,000, it's at 0. Do we not have any clerical for sewer services?
Correct. That individual ended up accepting a job in the clerk's office.
Alderman Tall, you said 401, and what was the other one?
402.
Yeah, so 401 is right on track.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
At the 91.67 mark, we're at the 91.3 there. And like I said, we didn't replace that individual at this time.
I believe, if I could, Mayor, the employee, actually, that's Karen, who works for my department now. This position's never been replaced since Karen came to the comptroller's office in July of 18. They left this as a placeholder, thinking that they would need a full-time person, but trying to be cognizant of the budget, had made the decision that that FT during this fiscal year was not needed.
All right. Okay. All right, thank you. Item number 6, old business, we have none. Moving on to new business, item A, we had a bid, DPW fuel bid, and we had 2 bids come in. I'll go ahead and turn that over, Pete.
Yeah, Dennis, could you elaborate on that for us?
Sure. We bid fuel. We have to bid it once a year because of the amount of money we spend on fuel. But it's not something where you can just say how much is it going to be for a gallon of fuel for the next year. The market decides what a gallon of fuel costs. So we link to a price indexing system that gives the average price of a gallon of diesel fuel and the average price for a gallon of regular fuel, and we link to that price. So what we do is we give in the specifications, we tell them how much they're paying for a gallon of fuel, and then what they're actually bidding is their expenses and profit over that. We take the price that they quote us for a gallon of mid-grade. That's the 89 octane. The price for a gallon of that and the price for a gallon of number 2 premium diesel fuel. We add the 2 of them together. That gives us a total. And then the lower of those 2 totals is who we determine is the low bid. The low bid was Barron Hewitt. They're a local company, and we would recommend that we go with them. They're our current bidder, our current vendor, and we have no issues with that.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. So we would need a motion to approve the bid. Alderman Osinga.
Yes. Mayor, I make a motion we accept the bid from Barron Hewitt for $939.
Okay, Alderwoman Gall.
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Alderwoman Gall. Any discussion? If you guys can mute your phones when you're not talking, that may help with that little squeaky noise we hear. Somebody's picking up background noise. So we have a motion by Alderman Osinga, a second by Alderwoman Gall. Any discussion on this item? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Tall.
Aye.
Alderman Prude.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gall.
Aye.
Alderman Osinga.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Curtis.
Aye.
Alderman Sutter.
Aye.
Clerk Suman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. And then item B is the ESU budget for fiscal year 21, second reading. Pete, I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just need to thank the staff, Maureen, Clara, Zach, Alan, Bert, Dennis, Maureen, Tammy, for putting this all together. We had the first reading the last round. There were quite a few things that we were able to fine tune. Elizabeth, I'll let you go through some of those in a little bit. With the first reading, we had to unfortunately cut out $100,000 out of the capital expenditure line item to ensure that we had a balanced budget. Luckily, with some different insurances, some karma expenditures, and with all the fine-tuning of the staff, we were able to get it down to a respectable level, able to put that $100,000 back into the capital, help relieve a little bit of the MFT and put some of that salt expenditure back into the public works budget. With that being said, the total utility expense will be $20,159,624. The total revenue is $20,314,650, which gives us a positive of 155,026, and we're able to fulfill everything that is needed to be fulfilled. Elizabeth, do you want to add some additional items to that?
Yes, when we were working on this together, we started going, line for line when you do that very last glance. We rechecked the karma number, and luckily there's a very, I'll call it modest in the karma world, increase of $138,000 this year. So that helped a lot. Our original estimates were higher in percentage than that. So that helped us gain some money, certainly in savings and expenditures. We also were able, per the mayor's wishes and understandably, to possibly put salt into the ESU budget instead of taxing that MFT fund. So we were able to put that back into this budget. We did do some fine tuning on the salaries, just making sure that they were in line with what was actually going to be needed this next year, and make sure that the boundaries basically were set appropriately on those salaries. And we also did a few cleanups. Maureen and I worked on some of the taxes and IMRF, just making sure that those were fine-tuned and that we had appropriate amounts in those boxes.
On that, Mayor, I think we're in good standing, and we'd just like to request approval of this second reading.
Okay. Alderman Elsinga.
Yes, Mayor. Elizabeth, as I'm looking at this, I see a significant increase in health insurance from $765 to $841. Is that going to be citywide, or is that something unique to ESU?
Yeah, so ESU's is going up a little bit more than what we saw on the city side. City side did go up, but when we start talking budgets there, we went up almost 5%, not quite, which we still, though, for our average for the 6 years I've been here, is still really solid. I think it's only around like 4% total. But we did see some increase there on the side. As you know, Teamsters and operators have their own insurance. So we did see some increases there. Percentage-wise, I can't speak to that right this second, but it was more of an increase than what we have been used to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
May I have a motion to approve the budget? Alderman Tall?
Still had a couple of questions.
Okay, I'll get the motion and then we'll go to discussion. So, Alderwoman Swanson.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of the budget.
Okay, motion made by Alderwoman Swanson. I have a second. Alderman Tatter. Okay. Discussion, Alderman Tall.
Yes. Under technical services and sewer services, I'm noticing that we're not having any clerical. Who's doing the clerical work for those departments?
As you can see in the, hold on. As you can see in the 2402, we do have budgeted an individual for this year, $20,500, possibly a part-time individual.
Mm-hmm.
Second question.
Go ahead, Alderman Tall.
Does this all include all of the increases in salaries and?
Yeah, this includes salary increase.
This year, our increases are what?
2%.
2%.
2%.
2%.
And some of the contracts citywide might be a wee bit more than 2%, but in general, any exempt employee and most union contracts are trending at 2%.
Any other discussion? Alderman Curtis.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a committee. Do we just need one reading to send this to council? Is that all we have to do? And then we suspend the rules of council?
This is a board. So are the rules different?
As a board, do we need to suspend the rules tonight then? Because we didn't do a first reading with a motion at the last when we presented it, but there was no actual motions at the last meeting. So do we need to suspend rules tonight and then have a second reading?
It's not in an ordinance format. Where is Mike on here? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on here. Can you hear me, Mayor?
I can't. Go ahead.
Yes. I don't recall if there was a motion the last meeting to make it the first reading.
I don't think it was an ordinance last meeting.
Yeah, I would just make this the first reading.
Yeah.
And then send it on to the city council.
The reason, if you look at our minutes, we just presented it, but there was no motion by any of the members at the last ESU meeting.
Right, so I would just make it a motion for the first reading then, to send it to the city council.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Who was that? Alderwoman Swanson, I think, made that motion, right?
Yes, I will rectify or amend the motion to say that it is a motion to approve the first reading of the budget.
And then Alderman Taylor, were you the second?
Alderman Tedder, you have your mic shut up. There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
And then part of the motion is that to go ahead and put it before the city council at the next meeting, or does that have to be a second motion?
No, it's the first reading. It was been approved.
Yes.
Or the motion is second, and then with the board's approval, this board's approval will go to the full city council on the next agenda.
Okay. Okay. So we have a motion made by Alderwoman Swanson, seconded by Alderman Tatter, and then roll call.
Alderman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Prude. Alderman Prude.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gall. Aye.
Aye.
Alderman Osinga.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Curtis.
Aye.
Alderman Tedder.
Aye.
Clerk Dumas.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries. We have no need for an executive session. May I have a motion to adjourn? Alderwoman Gall. Motion made by Alderwoman Gall. Alderman Osinga, seconded by Alderman Osinga. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you. See you in about
Also,
20
all
minutes.
the aldermen, all the aldermen, you have separate login credentials for that meeting, so it's not going to be the same one as you're on now.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
See you in about 20 minutes, you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I need to, I still got part of my packet.